Hello and welcome to the Pinstripe Post. It's always a pleasure when Joel Sherman joins us here in studio. Today is Monday, May 11th. Joel, the Yankees are coming off getting swept by the Milwaukee Brewers. I'm interested to hear your thoughts about this. There's some narratives being built. Are the Yankees not good against good teams in Major League Baseball? We're going to break it down on today's episode for Pinstripe Post.
It's a drive on Dirty Dozen. Josh Chisholm goes deep.
Well, Joel, as always on a Monday, I like to ask you, how are you doing today? And how's it going right now?
You know the answer to that
I do, that's
because
why.
you just saw me on the phone with my car guy giving me crap. Everything's good. Interesting. It's just like the second or third time this year both the Mets and Yankees weren't at home at the same time.
It felt like it,
which
right?
is bizarre.
Yeah.
Like usually there's a game in town every day, especially over the weekend. So it was like a weird weekend for me not to be at a ballpark.
Yeah, it definitely it's unusual when at least that one team is here. Obviously, we got the Knicks back in a deep playoff run, so that gave us a little bit of flavor here locally. But yeah, it was weird that both teams were on the road.
I might make a lot of Nick analogies today.
I don't blame you because, look, that's the team that everyone wants to talk about right now because baseball just this past weekend has not been pretty for New York. But I want to start with real or unreal because the stat is out there, Joel, about the Yankees early on are 1-8 against teams with a winning record in Major League Baseball on their schedule. We heard Aaron Boone in the postgame, immediately shut that down. I think Greg was the one that asked him in the postgame about it. And he's like, no, we're a good team. We just had a bad series. So is it real or unreal right now, just early on, them against the A's, against the Rays, and against the Brewers, they're 1-8?
Yeah, so if the Knicks play the Pistons in the Eastern Finals, who's going to be the favorite?
It's going to be the Pistons.
You think the Pistons are going to be favorite?
They finished with the better record. They beat the Knicks all
Well,
regular
that's my point.
season
Do you
long.
think that what happened during the regular season, in other words, like I think teams change over the course of the season.
Sure.
And narrative change. So I'm not dismissing that the Yankees have lost series to better teams so far this year, but I think in part, like I think the Rangers would be over 500 if they hadn't played the Yankees this year,
Yeah.
right? Like so, like the Yankees have knocked a couple of teams under 500. I think the Yankees are a very good team that has had a couple of moments here with bad teams. I think if they played the Rays in the playoffs, they'd be the favorites. I think if they played the A's in the playoffs, they'd be the favorites. I think if they played the Brewers in the playoffs, they'd be the favorites. That being said, I wouldn't completely dismiss it, but I would point out, like for example, since the beginning of 2023, let's do the beginning of 2024 through this second.
Sure.
The three teams with the best records against winning teams are the Brewers, who don't win in the postseason, though
Yeah.
they beat winning teams all the time,
They do.
the time. The Dodgers and the Yankees. Those are the top three in best record against teams with winning records. Do I think it means anything? I would say it means little, but not nothing.
Okay.
Because the one thing that I've noticed when they lose is I do think the Yankees are much better on defense than they've been the last few years. But when they play some of these better teams and it's a close game and the ball is in play a lot, they start to get less clean with the ball.
They get tight.
Yes, they're less clean with the ball. So my thing would be, are they exposing an issue that the Yankees have to think about? Like, for example, I have no idea what's going on with Ryan McMahon's arm.
Yeah.
Like, that felt like a true arm last season. Does he have the yips? Is he hiding an injury? Is there something going on there? Because that hasn't been good. I think the scoops with Ben Rice are always going to be an issue, at least in the short term here as he learns the position. I think that their catchers are going to have trouble throwing guys out at second base a little bit. But, you know, in one of those, any 5 games you're going to play, Fried is pretty much going to shut down a running game, though Friday night, obviously, some stuff happened. Look, I think the Yankees very easily could have won 2 of these 3
Absolutely.
games. And just to go back, remember where we were. The Brewers opened up against the Yankees last season. We all learned what torpedo bats were. The Yankees hit 15 homers and scored 36 runs in 3 games, and we were like, ugh, look at these Brewers.
Right.
Well, I think the Brewers had 7 or 8 pitching injuries, and I think Uribe was on the suspended list from hitting someone the previous year. And they got better, and they won. They finished with the most wins in the regular season.
were awesome
And
last year.
what stood out for me this weekend, especially watching Mizorowski, is I know that we want to create this narrative of, oh, a team like that, you know, with the low payroll, they can't win. And I'm like, well, first of all, they have the best record against teams with winning records for multiple years now. And if this is who Mizorowski is and he stays healthy, do you want to see him in games 1 and 5 of the playoff series? And good luck trying to figure out how to win the other ones. And then you watch all those power arms, especially left-handed, they have coming out of the bullpen. I actually think the Brewers are really good.
Yeah.
They should get Christian Yelich back at some point because they need at least one more bat. I think they need 2 more bats. I think they should be this is not Milwaukee Brewer talk, but they should be aggressive and go get a bat in the marketplace, somebody who plays short or third, preferably, because they're really good.
No,
they are really
are.
good. That's not the Yankees did not play well over the weekend. I'm not whatever, but I'm not sure the Rays are going to have the depth of quality to get through the season. Like I like the top of the Rays lineup, but then it's kind of peters out. They've taken on a couple of significant pitching injuries, especially to Ryan Pepio. I wonder about the length of their rotation and stuff like that. Ultimately, I still think I know Tampa Bay's ahead today. I think it's the Yankees' division to lose. But Milwaukee's good.
Yeah. No, I have no doubts Milwaukee is one of the best teams in baseball. They play like it. I love their style. They play hard. Like after their manager, you could see the emotions they play with. And I have no doubts that was a very good baseball team the Yankees played this past weekend.
And there were 2 toss-up games.
It was.
That could have gone either way, and it didn't go the Yankees' way. And again, if you want to make something of 1-8 against teams, you can. So I would ask this question. There's 7 games under 500 against teams with winning records. If you had to bet all your money if they'd finish with a winning record against teams with winning records, would you bet yes or no?
Yes, I would hope so. Yes.
Like that's one of the things I always I think about, Ryan, in this kind of ecosystem where people scream at each other on these kind of shows is like what do you really believe? Like, do you believe the Yankees can't? One of my friends who's a Yankee fan, I texted down from the wall yesterday with the exact question I just asked you. I said, dude, we got all your money in the bank here. We got to go one way or the other. You get to keep it or I get it. Do you think they'll have winning record? Well, I do. Then you're just moaning to moan a little bit.
No, I know. It's like the don't cry on the yacht, right? Like that's the theory right here. But I would say for me, I'm interested because I believe in your opinion. I know you get a good read on this team. And
can I tell you what I'm thinking about a lot?
Yeah.
Which is
besides the bullpen.
We'll get to that. But what I'm thinking about a lot is the Yankees have regularly under Aaron Boone had kind of what we call the June swoon, whatever. The one that occurred in 2024 was they began that season with Cole on the injured list. And it was like, wow, how are they going to survive? And their starting pitching, I went and looked it up last night because I was curious about it, and I wrote about it for Post Plus tomorrow. So through June about 14th last year of 2024, the Yankees had the best record in baseball. It was like 50-23, and they had by far the best rotation ERA in baseball, in part because Luis Gil pitched like Cole, filling in for Cole.
Right.
And then I picked that date because that was the date they announced Cole's going to start on the 19th. In other words, they let go of the rope a little bit, it felt like. And for the next 33 games, they had their worst 33-game period since 1990, which was a team that had the worst record for the Yankees since they were the Highlanders in 1912. Now, let's say this. The 2024 Yankees got their act back together and went to the World Series. But I do think there's a psychological thing we've been talking about. When are they getting Rodon? When are they getting Cole? When are they getting Rodon? When are they getting Cole? I wonder, nobody lets go of the rope purposefully. But is there a psychological thing of, wow, we had the best rotation ERA while Rodon and Cole were out, and now a little bit of the rope is like, wow, the saviors are here, the cavalry's run into town. I just thought about it a little as they were getting swept over the weekend and Rodon returned to the rotation, and we kind of got a clearer idea that Cole's probably like one more rehab start and then back, where it's like, oh, we not only survived, we thrived, and now everybody breathes a little bit and exhales. Yeah. And you got to be careful. A, you got to be careful of that. B, you have to be careful of sample sizes are always small. At this time last year, the Mets were flying. And I literally was writing, these are the new Mets. because they had gone to the NLCS Game 6 the year before by rallying and playing great, and then seemingly having a strong offseason and starting off great where you felt like, they finally got it together. And think about everything that's happened since the middle of June last year with the Mets. Now, do I think the Yankees are going to fall apart? I don't. But, I also am always open to that there's 5 or 10% chances of everything in the sport. And they have to be, it's a little careful moment here. They get the Orioles, who they've beaten up. Mm-hmm. They kind of got to get it right the next few days again. And kind of just hey, that was a bad weekend in Milwaukee. This isn't this June swoon, May die, whatever thing you want to call it. We're not going to have one of those this year. Because I really do think 1-26 and really about 1-30, 1-35, this is the best Yankee team in a while.
You've talked about the depth, Joel, multiple times on the show about how deep this team
I felt starting in spring training, I felt like it was going to be that kind of team. And I feel like this team shouldn't have that kind of swoon with the kind of starting pitching they could throw out day after day. They hit good pitching this weekend. It was playoff-like pitching. I don't think they saw playoff-like pitching against the A's or the Rays.
Right.
I thought if you want to make something about can the Yankees beat a good team, it was this weekend.
Yeah.
Right? This is what it will probably look like in October.
Well, I think it's curious that, your thought, it makes a lot of sense in, letting go of the rope. The other thought I had was, 2024, is this team really good at beating up on the bad teams? And then when they play the good teams that know how to run against them, test their pitchers and holding runners on defensively, I think they're better they are now. But I just wonder, again, the mental fortitude, do they have it? Can they get through the 162? It probably ties into the whole letting go of the rope situation, right? I wonder, hey, man, you guys got to get up. This is a good team that you're playing today. It's not the Orioles you're going to beat up on. It's not the Red Sox you beat on this year. So I just wonder, it goes into that 1-8 discussion of do the Yankees understand when they go up against the Rays, they go up against the Brewers, this is a better opponent. You got to be on top of your P's and Q's. They're going to test you because they have good scouts and they have good people that are trying to find your weaknesses every series.
It is interesting payroll-wise who we think of as the good teams right now.
Right, yeah.
Right, the A's, the Rays, and the Brewers. And also, look, the Yankees have done a lot of beating up on the American League. The American League has been bad.
Right.
We're a quarter of the way through the season. There's not that many teams over 500 in the American League to say, hey, the Yankees have a winning record. Well, nobody has a winning record in the American League. So I always leave a door open that, hey, we saw it the other day. Cam Schlittler takes a line drive off his lower leg. If that's a different spot and suddenly Schlittler, who's become incredibly valuable to them, he gets hurt. You lose a guy. They've been really, for them, knock on wood, relatively healthy. Stanton and Dominguez,
How about that with Dominguez? How bad of luck? I mean, the guy knows defensively the narrative's out there. He can't be good defensively.
So he's certainly going after the ball in a way he probably wouldn't have on, May whatever. If he's a good defense, if it's Cody Bellinger, does he just turn around and play the ball off the wall and accept the double because whatever? Or if it's Cody Bellinger, catch it a lot easier.
Right.
Dominguez has taken on some stuff that's been interesting, but it opens another door. It's an interesting door to see what Spencer Jones.
Were you surprised by that?
No. It was I think that they are who is the next man up? I will say this: if the next man up was close and hit right-handed, I think they would have brought it. They just don't have a righty hitter sitting at AAA. It's a soft spot for them, for a team that does have depth. But they do have a lot of righties on the bench. The Goldschmidt Rosario, group on the bench kind of gives them some of this. I thought the other option was Volpe, and then use Rosario and Caballero in the outfield. But I think they're I don't think they'll say it out loud, but I think that they're concerned. They have a good thing going right now. I wrote about this a little bit, where it's they know Volpe's a lightning rod. And if he comes up and Caballero's in the outfield and everybody's well, this is the better shortstop, and why is this guy here? And he just booted a ball and it cost the game. So I think they want that to happen. If it's going to happen this year, to happen more organically. And I do think there's still a door for that to happen. I think we're starting to see Caballero's offense catch up to his metrics, which is the metrics aren't very good. He doesn't hit it hard. He chases a lot, etc. I think because he's a bizarre player who's completely unafraid and has bat skills, there'll still be some doubles and homers, but I wonder if like batting average, on base, OPS, everything just keeps falling to like a much lower level. And you look up in about like late June and go, is it organic now, where he is offensively, to turn Caballero back into what they thought he was, which was the 10th man, late game difference-making pinch runner, move him around. Now, again, I'm always open to the possibility. Maybe Caballero's young guy, relatively still.
Yeah.
Maybe he is a starting shortstop.
He's better defensively than Volpe right now.
I don't
no
think
doubt
that's
in my
close.
mind. Yeah.
Like I think the Yankees might argue it's close. I don't think it's close because I also think that Caballero is, you could hit it to him in a big spot. And I think you'd feel way more confident about him playing the ball and making the throw.
Yeah.
There is still a bit of an out-of-control element. It's an interesting double play combination, him and Jazz.
Yes.
Because sometimes they're both so talented, and they both could be out of control sometimes. But the upside for both is an interesting upside.
It's a lot of athleticism.
And I think if
up the middle.
Volpe's going to come back, it's got to be an organic thing,
Sure.
not an injury, not at shortstop. So it can't be an outfield injury and he's back. And so to me, that was a long-winded way of saying,
No.
Spencer Jones kind of had earned it as next. It was either him or Yankel Fernandez. I think it's your draft pick. I think they were curious enough. Let's see what it looks like. And I think that's why he's here.
What have you thought of him so far, Bats? I mean, obviously it's a lot of strikeouts like he was in AAA, but that's a tough matchup going against Mizorowski on Friday night for your first game in the major leagues.
Look, I will say this is, would we agree Aaron Judge is probably one of the best 25 hitters who's ever lived?
Yes.
Okay. Aaron Judge's 2016 2-month cameo, he struck out over 40% of the time. That's Aaron Judge.
Yeah.
Like at about the same age, by the way, same profile, right? College player, didn't get here till 25, kind of thing, and he does. If Spencer Jones was 70% of Aaron Judge, that would be a miracle. Like, it's probably not going to happen again. But I think the reason the Yankees drafted Spencer Jones was the Yankees' philosophy, I believe, has become that they never get a top 10. They haven't drafted in the top 10 since 1993. They've been really good, and either they've been really good and or they've even lost first-round picks when that was compensation. So whatever. If there is a chance to draft somebody with a big ceiling, even though there's a low floor, do it.
Right.
Because to play for the Yankees or to have incredible trade value for the Yankees, you need ceiling. And so I asked one of their people in the offseason, I was like, why haven't you guys traded Spencer Jones? And the answer basically was, right now, we could trade Spencer Jones for, like in scouting terms, it's the 2 to 8 scale or 20 to 80, like a 40 or a 50. Right? He goes, we're the Yankees. We should just be buying 40s and 50s. He goes, Spencer Jones could be a 6 or a 7. Right? Will he be a 6 or 7? Probably not. But we should find that out as opposed to trading him for a 4. Like if you're telling me we could trade him as part of a package for Tarek Skubal, okay.
Sure.
But like, to me, I think they want to run this race to see, and I think that they probably know the more likely outcome is he's never going to contact the ball enough to be a high-level major league player. But what you could get for him in return in a trade is not valuable enough not to find out.
Sure.
And I think at this moment where, like, they're going well, I think it's the right moment to take a look and to get his feet wet a little, and to also, because you lived through the Aaron Judge experience, know that, hey, Aaron Judge, not one of the greatest Yankee hitters ever, one of the greatest hitters ever, struck out over 40% of the time that first cameo in 2016, and not an insignificant amount of at-bats. It was 2 months worth of at-bats. And that I would expect you're going to get no less than that from Jones. And what you're going to have to see is what you saw with Judge, which is when the ball hits the bat in the major leagues, does it go for something where you sit and could dream on, hey, we now know what his gaps are. There are always going to be gaps with a guy that size. Can he close them up enough that when there are mistakes, 40 times a year, the ball goes over the fence.
Yeah.
And he becomes, to some degree, Adam Dunn with athleticism, where it's like lots of walks, lots of strikeouts, 40 homers, but you can put him in the field.
Yeah.
That guy becomes a valuable player, maybe not on a championship team where then you have to trade him, but then you know his full value, but a pretty valuable player.
Yeah. Weird batting stance for Spencer
Weird,
Jones.
like that modified Ohtani thing
Yeah.
where like there's a lot of movement there to try to get into a hitting
Very
position.
squatted and it's such
Look,
a tall
look,
position.
Ryan, I want to be clear on this because I'm always afraid of, again, our aggregator friends where they hear. There is a 0% chance this guy's going to be Aaron Judge. There's a 0% chance probably anyone else who ever plays Major League Baseball is going to be 6'7" and hit.
I've never seen Aaron Judge before in my life. I
Like,
don't know about
and
you.
hit like Aaron Judge. But I think the Yankees have enough experience with that size player and how bad a start that player had to have a level of tolerance here to see if there is the inkling of 65, 70, 75% of Aaron Judge. Because, again, what makes Aaron Judge incredibly valuable beyond everything else, if he was just the designated hitter, he would be one of the most valuable players in baseball.
Yeah.
But he's also an above-average outfielder and an above-average base runner. So, like, I think they see an above-average outfielder probably outside of center field for Jones and an above-average base runner. And so, again, how much of his power could he get to where the strikeouts at a high level are acceptable? And are the strikeouts 32%? Or are they 45%?
Right. It's a good question, Joel. And it goes into, I think, again, the larger discussion about the Yankees offense. And I don't know if you saw this. Do you know the Yankees are ranked dead last in MLB with 181 singles this season? And that the Braves, who have the best record in Major League Baseball, and the Rays, who have the best record in the AL, both have the most singles in their respective divisions of 248 and 247 in all of baseball. So I just think that's interesting, like about that all or nothing approach with the Yankees. If it's curious, again, it's early observations. Again, I think about that 2024 season. It was just Judge and Soto.
Can I throw in one
Yeah,
thing
of
on
course.
there? So I would say this is, was it maybe David Cohn said it the other day where he said, I want to give it to the right person, and I might be wrong about it. And it's something I've always thought also. I call it hidden slugging percentage, right? Like, if you're a singles hitter, but you steal second all the time, that's like a hidden double.
Right.
Like, there should be slugging percentage worked in there. So, yes, the Yankees have a limited number of singles, but who reaches first base the most? In other words, now you want to add, for a team, they have about a 13% walk rate, which leads the major leagues.
Right.
So they're actually on first base plenty. And I think the exchange is, because they walk a lot, they homer a lot. Because they're looking for their pitch, and they're being pitched in a certain way because there's so many home run hitters that they're drawing more walks. So the question is, are you reaching first base often?
Okay.
And so, like, yeah, they're down on singles, and you wish that they're, like, especially some guys who don't hit it out of the park as much, you wish there was some more just, hey, slap it on, whatever. But their philosophy is get on base, on base percentage, right? They're near the top of the sport. So, like, does it matter why you're standing on first base? Because I also think the walks are reflect a team that hits the ball out of the stadium more than anyone else. And if I asked you at any point, but certainly before the season, would you rather your team lead the majors in homers and walks or singles?
Homers and walks. 100%.
Yeah, well, they're leading in homers and walks, I believe. That's a better way to runs.
Right. I can understand that philosophy. It's just, it goes again to, I want to ask you about Trent Grisham. Again, I know what you've said to us. Like, Ryan, Trent Grisham's got a good eye. He's had some bad luck in terms of weighted expected on base percentage. I know he hits the ball hard, and it's a lot of bad luck, but he's still batting sub 200 right now. I know he had the good game against the Rangers on Thursday, but I just wonder if they're doing more harm than good with someone in the leading off the lineup who's batting sub 200 right now. I know his job is to get on base in front of Judge, like you're talking about with getting on, just walk there. But I do wonder, like, is this guy really for the long term? His career batting average is like 200, 215, 220.
I think the best you're hoping for is about a 230 batting average and a 330 on base percentage and, like, say, like a 430 slugging percentage.
Okay.
If you got that, that would be a very good season for him. I think it's within his profile to get there. Then the question becomes against the righty starter, because against the lefty, I think you'll see a lot of Goldschmidt. If against the righty starter, who would you have leading off? Would you go to Caballero? Because again, I think Caballero and Grisham are the 180-degree opposites of each other.
Right.
Right? Caballero's predictive metrics are bad, and he's outperforming them. Trent Grisham's predictive metrics are good, and he's underperforming them. Over the course of time, often, those normalize for 162 games. So you would think there's a lot in the bank for Grisham, and you would think there's something not in the bank for Caballero. But you've got to play the game in front of you. And so the question becomes, who would you have hit leadoff? And I do think one of the things that Grisham gives you is the ability to draw a walk in front of Judge and Rice, and ultimately Stanton when he's around, which you want. And a little bit of a chance to get the ball out of the ballpark, especially at home, which you like. And I'm not sure that Caballero's patience goes up hitting in front of Judge. Like, he's going to get the ball right down the middle against him. I'm not saying not to, but, like, I guess the question becomes, who would you have hit in the spot? Would you take Ben Rice out of an RBI spot and go Rice Judge to open the lineup?
Probably not. You'd be in a tough spot. I wonder if Bellinger could be a leadoff guy for you.
God, I really love him behind them.
You love him behind Judge?
I do.
Because I actually would prefer Rice behind Judge. I know that's another thing I'd like.
Because here's the thing is, I think Judge is going to be on base a lot, right? Because of the walks. And the one thing about Bellinger is I know he's going to get it in play.
Okay.
Like, and I don't know that about Rice. I kind of like Rice in front of Judge.
In that 2 spot right
I
there.
do.
Yeah.
Like if it worked perfect against righty pitching, I think it would be Grisham, Rice, Judge, Bellinger.
Okay.
But by the way, wherever you play Bellinger is fine. He's going to be good. You want my next basketball one?
Sure.
Isn't Bellinger like OG Anunoby?
I was thinking the same thing. I mean,
isn't he just like kind of good at everything and helps you win a game in some way every day?
Last week. He was so good last week.
Well, he's just
over the
good
field.
at everything.
Yeah.
He's good. Like how easily he scored from first base on the double.
Yeah.
I was like, how that? Wow, I was expecting a tight play there, and it was like he scored easy just because he's a good base runner. He's good jump, cutting bases. He saves 5 feet because he's a good base runner,
Yeah.
and so it's not a close play. And he's mastered left field at Yankee Stadium, as we see when visitors come in at daytime and they can't find the fly ball, and then you watch that guy play left field in daytime at Yankee Stadium.
Can't take it for granted. No,
Yeah,
you can't.
like he's just a really, really good player.
I do want to switch over to the bullpen here. That was something, again, Bednar we see with the opportunity to, isn't the ninth inning was a tie game, ninth inning gives up the walk-off home run. We saw Tim Hill make the horrible play, fielding the ball towards third baseline, throws it to third for the force out. Don't know why he didn't go to first for the easy out. But the bullpen itself, it's been good. Like, it's been better than we thought we would
And
hope.
everything's by comparison.
Correct. By
bullpen
comparison.
has been bad in baseball.
Right.
And theirs has been in the top third pretty much for the season. And the guys who, besides Duvall, who I think they're going to have to make some tough decisions about, like the guys who screwed up this weekend, like Hedrick gave up a homer. But Hedrick's been really good.
been really good for
Good for them.
Yeah.
He's going to give up 5 to 8 homers this year.
Right.
That was one of the 5 to 8 he's probably going to give up.
First homer Bednar's given up
Right,
this year.
first homer Bednar give up. He's going to give up 5 to 8 probably.
Yeah.
You know he's going to blow some games. Tim Hill is usually like the most level-headed player on the field. He made a really bonehead play because either he made a bonehead play or he didn't know how many outs there were.
That's
like
the other
whatever,
thing, yeah.
whatever cover story you'd like
Right.
for that. It's kind of doesn't fit his profile of what he normally is. So like the 3 guys you probably wanted to see most in a game for the Yankees this year and are going to be part of their solution, even when it's Weathers in the bullpen and maybe Lagrange in the bullpen and the guy or 2 they trade for, you're still going to be like, oh, you're comfortable with the guy who's they're going to have to make tough decision on Duvall. And I think Fernando Cruz is a fascinating guy, but to me, somebody who walks that, I think there's nothing more detrimental that when you're a relief pitcher, the 2 things you want to avoid to me are walks and homers, right? It's like Tim Hill never strikes anybody out, but he doesn't walk anybody, he doesn't give up homers. So, and he's a ground ball guy. So you got to get a lot of ground balls to score runs on him. Like, Bednar essentially keeps the ball in the ballpark and doesn't walk guys. Like they have profiles I like. Even if you say neither guy should be a ninth inning, even if you want to say Bednar shouldn't be the ninth inning guy, I'm comfortable with him as the eighth inning guy because you're going to have to earn your victory off of him. You're going to have to earn a victory off of Hill. The guy who Hedrick has been this year, you're going to have to earn a victory off of him. Obviously, Cruz has a devastating pitch, but he's very Tommy Kahnle to me. Like, it's a devastating pitch, but how often is it in the strike zone? And how often is it first and second because you've walked two guys and now you do need to strike out, etc. He's very good, but him and Duvall are both more worrisome pieces for me. And I wonder if Duvall should be sent to the minors at some point. And as I think they have a fascinating thing coming up. If nobody gets hurt, what are they doing when Cole comes back?
Do you think Cole's 2 weeks away? Is that really what the timeline you think is, or is it even sooner?
I think he's always probably been about June 1st. I think he could be back today.
Sure.
I think they're thinking big picture of let's control, because when he comes back, they then want him to make all the starts from here until the last day of their season, whenever that is, which could, because they're good enough, maybe be the World Series. That's what you're dreaming on. It's very much the Ohtani path last year. Ohtani could have pitched from the beginning of the season last year. I don't think he pitched till mid-June because the Dodgers were like, we want him to start a game a series in the postseason. I would think the Yankees would want minimum a series for Cole. And so I think that they're hold. They have the best rotation ERA in the majors. It isn't. And when it's perfect, let's bring him. And then the question becomes, what do you do? Does he bump? Now, they can do, like, I'll give you an example that's going on someplace else. Bryce Miller has missed this entire season so far for Seattle, who's a very good starting pitcher. He's back this week. They have 5 other starters. Emerson Hancock has kind of been like their Will Warren. Like, they put him in the rotation, and he's pitched well. The guy who hasn't pitched well for them is Luis Castillo. But you don't really want to take Luis Castillo out. God, no. So they're going to go, I think, at least 2 times around their rotation with 6 guys because I think they got 13 or 14 games in a row, something like that. And then they'll make another decision. Essentially, they're kicking the can. Like, will somebody get hurt? Will performance make it obvious? Will we have a re-injury with the guy we're bringing back? I wouldn't be surprised with the Yankees is if nothing injury-wise happens between now and let's just say it's June 1st.
Sure.
Okay, that's 20 days away. May 25th, whatever day it is, right? If nothing happens, I wouldn't be surprised if the Yankees did a 6-man turn, a time or two. They probably want to slow Schlittler down a little bit also for total number of innings this year. They always want to, I think, slow down Weathers, who I don't think has ever even thrown 100 innings. Yeah, you
said he hasn't even thrown that many
innings.
Right,
in a season. And just, like, again, buy themselves time. See if it solves itself. Somebody gets hurt, etc. Somebody performs or doesn't perform. Then I think you'll be into, like, June-ish, someplace, a couple of weeks into June. You're going to have to make a decision. Weathers or Warren. And do they go to AAA or do they go into your bullpen? Because the bullpen is a very short-term, obviously, concern. But I think, again, comparatively, they've been fine. And I think they have some internal ways to get better. And I think they have enough prospects that pick your guy. Like, then you got to get it right. You got to make sure you get I always encourage people, well, I'm sure we'll do shows in July. Trades in July of any type hardly ever help a team. I know it seems like, go, you got to do. It's an inefficient market. With relief pitchers, it's particularly so because usually the relief pitcher you get is usually Jake Bird. It's a guy who's performed really well to that point, but if they've got a 2 ERA and they're really a 4 ERA pitcher, it means they're probably going to pitch to a 6 ERA the rest of the year. So you also have to be very careful. Like when you're going after a reliever, go after a guy who's either got a solid track record and is just going to do that, or go after a guy who your peripheral show, like you just love and you feel will work. Because like the Yankees have done this a few times where it's like, wow, Scott Efros, Jake Bird, like the guy who's pitching, Mark Leiter Jr., he's pitching really well in the moment. He's also not pitching in New York. He's also not pitching under the playoff pressure in New York. So like,
But they got Bednar last year, and obviously he's been great for them.
But they got
so far.
Duvall also, who's been kind of like, you watch Duvall's stuff.
I mean, the Giants series, opening series, we were like, holy crap, look at these pitches he's throwing.
And it's very, very tempting, but he's another guy. If you're on first, you're on second. He's not going to stop a running game at all. And in big game, when big games come around and scouting reports are going to be so acute, like everyone, if he gives up a single or a walk, it's a double. So already you're under a dire situation where a guy's going to be, if the guy could run it all, he's going to be on second base. So he's not like, I don't feel like Brett Hedrick doesn't have enough of a track record. But if he's the guy he's been for a month and a half here, he's part of an answer.
Yep.
Tim Hill has done enough for me to feel like he's part of an answer. David Bednar has done enough to feel he's part of an answer. So I think those three guys are going to be part of a bullpen. I think the guy you wonder about is Cruz. I think they like Jake Bird a lot more than I like Jake Bird.
Yeah, they've used him a bunch here lately, too.
But again, like everything is by comparison. Like by comparison, like most teams would take the Mets would like give children up for Jake Bird at this point, right? Like when you look at their bullpen. So everything's by comparison, but one of the comparisons is the Yankees aren't just comparing themselves. They're trying to win a championship. And I think they know this bullpen has to be better. And I think they have ways they believe it gets better internally.
Okay.
And I think that they know come July. I mean, you might be able to trade Anthony Volpe.
Yeah, you've mentioned
in July.
That.
You might be able to trade Jasson Dominguez in July. You might be able to, if he got healthy and threw a couple of games, Luis Hill in July. Some of the guys who've been important for you these last few years could become your trade chips for this year.
Makes sense. Cole threw 77 pitches, I think, last Friday. And, I just wonder, or it was yesterday. Yesterday. Sorry, he threw 77 pitches. He's got to be right there. I mean, Rodon was at 80 pitches pretty much, and then they called him up and said, all right, you ready to go? Obviously, it's different coming from Tommy John than just...
I do think, because I think they have these deceleration periods that they like to work in. And again, I just think with Cole, they're working backwards. Like, say we believe he's going to make 3 to 5 postseason starts. How many starts do we think we want him to make this year? We probably want to keep it to no more than 20.
I was going to say no more than 20, probably like 15.
Right. So it's like 15 in the regular season, 15 in the and I'm sure they are doing all kinds of mapping out. Hey, coming out of the All-Star break, if we make him the 5th starter, what does that look like? And
well, yeah, I mean, if you carry that all the way into the All-Star break, that's again, it presses the question: what do you do with Weathers? What do you do with Warren?
And again, like they're blessed. They haven't had to answer this question because of injury.
Right.
So like the good news is they haven't had any injury. The bad news is they haven't had any injury to make it a obvious decision. And like what's going to happen is like what happened with Dominguez at the end of spring training, right? Where a lot of fans were upset. Why is he getting sent down? Well, the Yankees don't get special dispensation to carry a 27th guy. You've got to carry your actual roster, who you think will help you the most, and you got to limit it to 26. Your starting pitching has to generally be 5 guys. I guess you could play around with a 6, but then you're worried about your bullpen. Now you're going to take a guy out of your bullpen.
Correct.
Like, so you don't want to do that. And again, there was a lot of criticism of the Blackburn Yarborough signings, right, in the offseason. That's been pretty good for them. Those guys have given them a lot of really quality innings so far.
Blackburn gave them the start on Thursday against the Rangers. So, I mean, that's where, again, it begs the question again about Rodon, Cole coming back. What kind of percentage are they going to be from their full 100% that they're going to be getting? Let's talk about Rodon. 4 1/3 yesterday, gives up 3 runs, walked 3 of the 4 or 5 first inning leadoff batters. Yeah. He's had that issue in his past before. Is that just, do you think, rust coming back into the majors, like him finding himself?
I think you got to give it some starts here. Sure. In 24-25, this guy was a top 20 starter in the major leagues. I think you've got to give it. Is there more suspicion about him than Cole? Sure.
Okay.
And that's even Cole coming back from obviously a much more significant injury and procedure than Rodon. I think Rodon has done a great job changing a lot of the narrative around him since a very bad first year. But we know that first year doesn't leave everybody's memory bank. And every time he takes the ball, it isn't like I know, because you know how many of my friends are Yankee fans, like who are like, I don't really believe in that guy. And I go, I get it. I understand you. He's been pretty good. Like,
he has been.
If you think of him as the number 3 or 4 starter, it's been pretty good. And on this team, with Schlittler, Fried, and Cole, he should be the number 4 starter.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm looking forward to seeing him build himself up stamina-wise, and if he can be another, like, just step in this rotation and taking that next step.
And by the way, you did see it with him yesterday, is he killed himself with walks. You know what it's hard to do against Carlos Rodon? Get a hit. So when he isn't beating himself, he often is very, very good. He beat himself yesterday.
The stuff is nasty when it's on, it's on. Yeah. All right, Joel, let's go to Joel's notebook. I'm interested.
You didn't tell me what this was going to be.
I know. Well, you were a little preoccupado over there with your car, but I do want to ask you.
Did they call me back on that? No. Jeez.
We have Subway Series action, the first of the season. It's at Citi Field. They're going to play Juan Soto again. I'm just curious again, like your thoughts about this Yankees Mets. You know, like I listened to what you said before about how the Mets first couple months of the season look like one of the best teams in baseball. Completely collapsed. It has not gone well for the Mets and David Stearns over there right now. But what about the Subway Series? Like, it still feels like it's a good time as always. Yankees and Mets fans always like to compare themselves here. But what do you think about the Subway Series?
Yeah, is this the 30th anniversary of the Subways? It started in 97?
97.
So this is the 30th season?
Yeah.
We're getting of Interleague. So, look, I think that the modern Yankees will look back and think the best thing that ever happened to them is Juan Soto signed with the Mets.
Wow. Okay.
And that has nothing to do with Juan Soto, who's one of the 5 best hitters I've ever seen. But remember what re-signing Juan Soto means. You don't sign Max Fried, you don't trade for Cody Bellinger. I don't think that any argument can be made that the Yankees aren't better with Fried and Bellinger over Soto. Because remember, the other thing that Soto brings is Judge still has to play center field, which means you're never going to be good on outfield defense, ever.
Unless you shifted him to left, right? Or, I mean, the Mets convinced Soto to move to left field.
I guess, but, you want Juan Soto playing left field at Yankee Stadium?
Not the larger field. No, not left field, no.
Like, he was an issue playing right field at Yankee Stadium. Yeah. And it's not... It's just about fit.
Right.
It's not about who's the best player of that trio. It's Juan Soto, who's going to be is an obvious Hall of Famer. He's one of the greatest hitters for his age in history. But on that salary for that team, it was going to lock them up to do other things. As we saw last year, once they lose Cole, if they don't have Fried, they have Soto. I mean, would him and Judge have hit their way to a lot of wins? Probably, but they're a better team with Fried, and we were singing the praises of Bellinger before. I just think Bellinger's a really brilliant baseball player who's kind of almost revisiting, he's going back in time to when he was an MVP candidate. I mean, if he plays exactly like he's playing now all year, he's going to finish in the top 10, maybe even better for MVP. That's pretty special. He does everything well. Soto does a singular thing spectacularly. And so I just think that the best thing that happened for the Yankees, not because of who Juan Soto is, but how they had to shape their roster. Judge would have to stay in center. No Bellinger, no Fried. So the Yankees were almost lucky that Cone came along and wanted him so badly. Now, having said that, I can't explain the Mets. 5-6 weeks ago, I picked them to win the division. I thought they were going to be good. I partially thought they were going to be good because I actually thought they had depth. Looking back, I always try to figure out when I get stuff wrong. I'm not exactly sure why I thought they had depth, but when I was in spring training, I was they could take a hit here, they could take a hit here. Now they've taken a lot of hits.
They've
taken a lot of hits, but here's one, I can't figure them out. You could have told me a lot of things about Bo Bichette, including that he wouldn't be able to handle third base. But not hit? This guy was a 300 hitter for his years in Toronto. He was a 340 hitter with runners in scoring. People say, runners in scoring position fluctuates. Not with Bo Bichette. He was great at it every year.
Is it the mental preparedness of going to third, though, affecting the hitting?
But, okay, that's a good question. Last year, he didn't play for a month.
Mm-hmm.
He had a bad leg and went and played second base where he had never played before. And you could argue he was the best hitter on the Blue Jays in the World Series.
Yeah.
Against the Dodgers in the best pitching in the biggest spots
Sure.
in a new position with a compromised leg after not playing for a month. And he hit I would have just thought the guy would hit. It would have been he's hitting 200 with runners in scoring position. He's hitting like 200 overall. The Mets are not going to survive, and maybe their season. I mean, they're 10-ish under already, so maybe I think they have the worst record in the sport right now. So maybe this is just who they are. They're going to be bad, but I know it's not surmountable if him and Soto don't hit to carry them while Lindor is out and Polanco's out and Luis Roberts out to do that, and those guys haven't hit.
Yeah.
And I would have said, hey, things are gone terribly wrong for the Mets. I'd be like, well, at least Soto and Bichette are hitting, right? Like, that would have felt like the given of it. So I'm surprised by that. Their rotation, I still think they could get to a rotate. I think they should stop screwing around and just make David Peterson the fifth starter.
Okay.
And stop playing their bullpen's bad. Just make Tobias Myers a bullpen guy, right? And try to go around with McClain and Holmes have been really good. Just believe in Peralta that it will get better. He's been a very good major league pitcher. I'd be encouraged by what I saw in Christian Scott the last time. And if David Peterson is your number 5 guy, allowing 3 or 4 runs in 5 or 6 innings regularly, so be it.
Yeah.
I would just be just live with it. Try to improve your bullpen with Myers and hope that is a way to kind of stabilize. It's not impossible that there's a good rotation.
I think it's a good rotation.
Yes.
4 out of 5 are pretty damn good.
Yes.
I mean, it's crazy, though, when you think about it. Like, a guy like Clay Holmes went from the Yankees, went to the Mets, became a full-time starter. He's developed into a hell of a starter, too.
You might argue it's the best thing Stearns has done in his time there.
Yes, you could definitely argue that.
And by the way, though, maybe the worst thing was giving him an opt-out after this season.
He's going to make some big money if he continues to have a strong season like this. But it's fascinating you say that the Yankees are better. I mean, I agree with you, obviously. They feel like a better team. They play like one of the best teams in baseball. Had a bad weekend against the Brewers. They got the Orioles.
I hope that's clear that didn't come across as a shot at Juan Soto.
No, not at all. But what have we been talking about all about this? We've been talking about this Yankees team has built depth. Real depth, Joel. And they've been able to do that because Soto's not carrying that payroll on their roster.
And they could be a more complete team, offensively and especially defensively, base running, things like that, and better depth rotation wise. I just think that if you offered the Mets, would you like Cody Bellinger and Max Fried for Juan Soto? They'd say yes. The Yankees would turn it down. Right? And that was the exchange. That was the financial exchange. The second Soto signed with the Mets, the Yankees, within an hour,
activated right there.
Within an hour, were on Fried. And by the end of that thing, they were going to go get Bellinger. They were going to make sure to get Bellinger. Those were the 2 big moves they made to with the money.
It's amazing when you look back at it now, and it feels like you could do this exercise almost every year, Joel. Whether it's in the beginning of the season, after the season, midpoint of the season, you can evaluate ever since that moment of Juan Soto choosing the Mets over the Yankees, how these teams have developed and built themselves into where they currently are. And you can always revisit that moment and be like, who made the right decision? Who didn't make the right decision?
Well, I also don't know that it was the wrong decision for the Mets. Steve Cohn is willing to support much bigger payrolls, and they don't have Aaron Judge. The reality is, if you have Soto and Judge, and you play at Yankee Stadium, one of them is going to have to play left field or center field, and those are tough places, especially at Yankee Stadium. So the Mets, as long as if you could afford it, Soto's fine.
Okay.
The Mets aren't making decisions not to get something.
No.
Because they have Soto. The Yankees would have made decisions not to get something if they had Soto.
I agree.
Right?
I agree.
That was a So they would have had to make either or decisions. The Mets added Soto, and they're not making either. Well, we got Soto, now we're not. If something else came on, like the Met problem is they have yet to find a way in the marketplace, except by accident with Holmes, to get a well above average starter. Now, will Peralta become that for the rest of the year? We'll see. But like they really. It's funny, like I'm going to say this name, and it's going to bother Yankee fans as much as it bothers Met fans. And the name is Frankie Montas, which was when the Mets.
I could have told them that was a bad investment.
But and I agree, and I wrote it.
Yes.
Is like a lot of teams have the Brewers, who we think are a very good organization. The Brewers, the Reds, the Yankees, and Mets have all done a lot to get that player because they all thought there was this untapped top of the rotation upside there. And they were all wrong. They went 0 for 4, those four teams.
I don't know where those was. It the metrics on the fastball?
Yes,
like that's really what it was?
Whatever is there,
Yeah.
there's stuff that because I'm telling you, when the Mets signed him, people I trust in the organization are like, I saw this with the Yankees, and they were like, he's going to be one of our 3 postseason starters. So they were very wrong about that. This past offseason, Met people were very, very confident that Sean Benaia was going to come all the way back and be like a really, really high-end 3.
Sure.
It didn't happen. And so like there's been some starting pitching stuff that they've done. They haven't fixed Senga. Like Senga has had periods where he's pitched like an ace.
Yes.
The beginning of last season until the middle of June, he was an ace. The rookie season, especially the second half of the rookie season, he was an ace. We just haven't seen it over a full season. And he like feels really far away from ever rediscovering that. But they're going to have to try again with him if he could get healthy. They have not found their freed.
They're not easy to find.
They're very difficult to find. And it's why the best thing to do is develop McLean or Schlittler. Like that is.
McLean's awesome. He's unfortunately turning into another DeGrom where he's getting no run support every start.
Yeah, I'll take my shot with DeGrom or McLean.
No,
like,
I know. You know what I'm saying,
and
though. Like,
try to fix the offense and not believe that there's just a curse. I would, like, those two guys are going to be so much fun to watch in New York. I hope there's somehow the calendar works and they're pitching against each other in the Subway Series.
Cam Schlittler's
so
good.
Like, that would be great New York night.
How many more starts?
Of course, the way that things go with baseball right now will surely be like Game 6 of the Eastern Finals.
Yeah, I mean
that's
coming this weekend, so it'll probably Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals, one of the Subway Series. How many more starts for you from Schlittler do you need to see before you tell me, Ryan, this guy is like?
Oh no, he's special.
Okay.
Now, again,
besides the health thing, I know that's always a stipulation.
If he doesn't have a health issue,
right?
I always leave a 5 or 10% window open.
Sure.
But that's all it is.
Yeah.
Like there's 90% certainty because it's not just the stuff, which is off the charts. And that he's going to be, but he is super confident. And he's learned how to dominate in the strike zone.
Doesn't walk anywhere, Joel.
I was about to say, as you could tell from my relief pitcher thing, and when you asked me about singles with the Yankees, and I really hate walks. Like, I like them on offense, and I hate them on defense. I could tolerate a triple to the gap. I'm so much, you've got to make the other team win the game.
Yeah.
Don't lose the game. Make the other team win the game. And this version of Schlittler is just, it is a little like DeGrom in that sense of it's this high-octane fastball. And here it is. Good luck.
Yeah.
And he's kind of built like DeGrom, 6'5"-ish, and attitude, like the stuff he's done with Boston. Again, it's not my total cup of tea. Like, not everything's for the old guy, but like he ain't afraid.
No, he's not.
And he could back it up. And so, it's him and McLean are like, to me, near 1 and 2 are the best things in New York baseball right now because it's new, it's fresh, it's so interesting, and you could see pathways for them. Like, here's the thing: if they were starting against each other in the All-Star game, would you be surprised?
No.
Like, they're that good. They're going to be on the short list. Like, would you be surprised? Like, we probably get to the All-Star game and say here's the 5 guys who should probably start for the NL. Here's the 5 guys who should start for the AL. So it's like a flip of the coin. It's probably be Paul Skeens if he was available because he's got a reputation. He's done it a few times. But like, I feel like we're going to get to July 1st when we start talking about these things. And without injury, McLean's going to be one of the 5 guys we consider to start the All-Star game for the National League. And Schlittler's going to be one of the 5 guys.
Schlittler's got to be one right now. I mean,
if Skubal's hurt, which he is, and I mean, there's other guys pitching well, but like, you're going to have just these fingers to count on the guys you would consider above him, and with the rest of the games in Philly, is Philly going to like 2 New York guys starting against each other, especially after like all the fans invaded their the arena to watch the Knicks knock them out? And sweep
I don't think Philly has much to say now anymore, considering what happened to them against the Knicks.
It's when does Eagles minicamp open?
Joel Sherman, I appreciate you hopping in the studio with us and doing another episode of Pinstripe. We're looking forward to your coverage, and we'll catch up with you next week, man.
Thanks, Ryan, and thanks everyone for watching.